Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I have some explaining to do. So I bought Jeepers Creepers Reborn for $10 on Amazon. This was a night when I had nothing to do. This was a movie I've been wanting to watch for a while. I missed the two-night event that this film had in theaters. I was a big fan of the first two films. The third, Jeepers Creepers, I have no words to describe the anger and the hatred I have for that movie. That was one of the first ever reviews I did on this channel, and I tore that motherfucker's asshole apart. Like, that movie was just shit from beginning till end. The storyline was all over the place, and it was just a bad movie. Like, that is the definition of a dog shit movie. That is, I think, one of the worst movies I've seen in my life. Like, I'm sure there are by far way worse films out there than Jeepers Creepers 3. But, at my current state, that film is on my top 10 worst movies of all time. That's a movie I've watched once. I've had no motivation to ever go back and watch that movie. Maybe if I had a few drinks in me, I would watch that movie and then I would completely forget about it the next day. But I would get absolutely smashed just so I don't have to think about the movie the next day. That's probably the only exception I would have for Jeepers Creepers 3. So now that I've set up my hatred for the third film, Jeepers Creepers Reborn, I was really looking forward to this movie. I think it had a lot of potential to be great. I think it had potential to do something new with this franchise, to go in a new direction. Since this was a reboot, this had a lot of potential. It had a whole new director attached to it, new cast, new makeup artist, and just like this had a lot of potential. Victor Salva has no involvement in this movie at all, and I'm not going to comment on the whole Victor Salva situation. I try to steer away from that with this channel. I don't talk about those serious things, but I'm sure you're all aware of Victor Salva's allegations. And so yeah, no, I was looking forward to this movie to see, just to see how they could mix it up, how they could change up this franchise, add some new blood into it. And so I watched this movie, and I have to admit, I enjoyed it. I generally enjoyed this movie. Reviews started to come out for this movie, and everybody was saying, Jeepers Creepers Reborn is way worse than Jeepers Creepers 3, and I was like, bullshit, no way, I am not buying that. Jeepers Creepers 3 is an abomination to humanity. It is just one of the worst fucking movies ever. And so, I was taking that with a very grain of salt, and every review I saw of this movie was negative. I don't think there's a single positive review I actually read on this movie. And so, I wanted to go into this movie, with my own opinion, and kind of watching it with my own eyes to really form an opinion on this movie. And like I said, I genuinely enjoyed this movie. Do I enjoy Reborn more than the first two films? No, not at all. Does this film have rewatchability to it? No, not really. There's really nothing memorable in the movie, which I'll get to that in just a second. The first two films are by far more superior than Jeepers Creepers Reborn. But I was looking at Jeepers Creepers Reborn as a different film. I didn't go into this as a die-hard Jeepers Creepers fan. Like, I love the first two films. I own them both on DVD. But I would not call myself a die-hard Jeepers Creepers, fanatic. And so, and plus I was going into this movie, with new eyes. With, this was a whole new vision displayed for the screen. This was a reboot. So they're obviously going to change up the franchise. So that means, you know, they can change the lore, they can change the, you know, the storyline if they want. They can, you know, they can do their own thing here. And so, you know, I wasn't really going into it with high expectations. I was going into it with very kind of tame expectations. You know, just like I didn't want to, you know, get too hyped up with this film, because, you know, I feel like that may have tweaked my response to this film as I'm filming this review. And maybe if I do go back and watch the film, like, I will think it's like the biggest pile of shit. But as of now, as of my first viewing, these are my first viewing reactions on the film. So, yeah. But then, saying that, there is still a lot wrong with this movie. There's certain storylines that are introduced that I just don't feel were necessary. And it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and to me it kind of comes off as a bit disgusting. I hate when horror movies do this, which I'll bring up an example in just a minute. But the storyline was the creeper wants to get an unborn child out of a pregnant woman and eat it. Yep, that's where we're at in this franchise. That's where we're at. A creeper eating an unborn baby. Fuck me. Whoever asked for that, like, seriously, that is a legitimate question. Whoever asked, like, was the fan base like, oh, I want to see a Jeepers Creepers movie where a creeper eats a fucking unborn child? Nobody fucking asked for that. Why did you think that was a good idea? And it's not even entertaining. It's just disgusting that that's even displayed in the film. Like, you don't actually see it, but just like the whole thought of it, that is repulsive. I don't care to see that in movies. An example I will bring up here is Aliens vs. Predator Requiem. There was a scene where I believe the Predator or the Alien, one of the two, were trying to impregnate or something, or eat the unborn child of a woman that was giving birth. That's pretty disgusting. I don't care to see that stuff. It's not entertaining in any way to me. But then saying that, you know, if you like that storyline, I mean, sure, you know, all the power in the world to you. I'm glad you can enjoy that. I just can't. Let's see. The cast in this movie, they were fine. It's some of the actors go from the range of okay to shit. Like, no one's really good in this movie, or no one's even good in the movie in general. Like, they're all just okay. There's some very over-the-top performances here that, you know, weren't the best. The fucking green screen in this movie. Oh my fucking god. I don't know what the budget of this fucking film was, but my fucking god, the backgrounds in this movie. Like, this film takes place, you know, all in a like a haunted house, an escape room, as it is in the movie, and there's a good portion of the film that takes place in a graveyard. Every single shot there, like, they would have had to use the worst fucking green screen with the worst VFX artist attached to this film. Like, they would have had to. There's no way it looks this bad. Like, the green screen in this film is so fucking noticeable. Even when they're driving at the start of the film, it's fucking green screen. It's noticeable. It's, like, I don't know if the director is even trying to make it look convincing. It looks like pure shit. It looks like pure shit. Oh my god. Whew. That's my rampage moment of this review. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm speechless at the moment. I have no words to describe the fucking green screen of this film. It is just shit. It is just, I have no words. I cannot put this into simple words at the moment and how bad the green screen in this film looks. Like, I can make more convincing green screen effects than what they fucking did. And I'm not even a professional fucking filmmaker. I could do better than that shit. Oh my god. Okay, moving on from the green screen. That's enough talk about that. What else is there to talk about in this film? Oh yeah, the ending. The ending, that is another criticism of this film. Spoilers, as well, we're putting it in the title anyways, but the creeper dies by being impaled by a, what is it, by like a pole or something, or like a, I don't know what the fuck it is. It was on top of this house. I don't care to remember what it was. He gets impaled, and then somehow, you know, that's good enough to kill this creeper. He just gets impaled. The thing that was very funny to me was before that, the fucking chick says, oh, what the fuck was it? It was like, like I saw this movie a couple of days ago. My mind is dead on this film at the moment, but it was like, like, oh, how about these peepers? Yep, that's the dialogue in this film. That's the dialogue. Great fucking ending, guys. You really nailed it on the head. Or should I say you really impaled it on the head. I'm just looking back at the dialogue now. It's shit. Like, while I was enjoying the movie, while I was watching this movie, I was enjoying it. Like, I had a good time. The movie was entertaining. The movie's a guilty pleasure to me, I would say. Like, this is a movie that, you know, I can see myself going back and watching maybe every 2 years or so. It's definitely not a movie I'm in a rush to go see by any means. But, you know, this is a movie I can, I can see myself if I was with a group of friends. We had some popcorn, we had, had a few drinks. We'd be all good to go. Like, I mean, I'd put this movie on, we just laugh our asses off. Especially with a line like, oh, how about those peepers? Fuck off. My god. What else in this movie is there to talk about? I won't lie, I did generally enjoy the setup of this movie that takes place at, like, the amusement, haunted house park, theme park. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that looked cool. I thought the production value there was good. It had pretty good atmosphere, even though you could see just a lot of the same extras in every single shot. Like, there's this Beetlejuice character, and I swear he's in 90% of the fucking shots. Like, he was there, he was the one taking the tickets, and then he's the one backstage, and then he's the one in the audience, and he's just fucking everywhere in this movie. He's in like 5 different places, like, during that opening scene, and I don't know, I found that pretty funny. There was a cosplayer of Jigsaw, so that's a positive. As you know me, big Saw fanatic on this channel. I'm really just trying to think of things I generally liked in this movie. Because, like, I don't want to, come across as, I hated this movie. Like, I generally did have a good time. I wasn't, like, offended by this movie or anything. I generally had a good time with it. I'm just trying to think of some more positives here. The creeper looks meh. I mean, it's acceptable. I can't say it's good, but, it's acceptable. the kills in this movie, I mean, there were some pretty good ones. There's some pretty good gore in this movie, in both CGI and practical. I appreciate that. I appreciate the practical gore. I thought the inside of the haunted house looked really cool. There's some areas that they discover as the film goes along that, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed a lot of the stuff that really took place in the house. There was some good tension in the film. The characters are shit. Characters are very bad in this movie. There's a line in this movie at the beginning where a character is putting on different outfits, and the chick asks him oh, what are you wearing? And he's like, oh, I'm wearing this. This is my costume, my shirt. And she's in a fucking I don't know, Freddy Krueger costume or something. I can't remember what the fuck she was wearing. But see, just that dialogue, how can that go by? I don't get when this script was ran by the producers. They signed off on this movie. Yep, they said, yep, this is a good script. We want to film this. You don't have a good producing team on your side, do you? If you have producers that just say yes to anything and then after they say yes, it's like, oh, here comes all the fucking money to you. Enjoy your fucking penthouse, motherfucker. Because you gave us one of the shittiest Jeepers Creepers movies. As I'm actually filming my review, I really did not like this movie as much as I thought. You know those types of movies that you watch, and while you're watching it, you're entertained. But then as soon as you walk out of the movie, it's like a curse. You completely forget everything about the movie. That's what it was like for me. Because I'm trying to reflect on some scenes in the movie, and I remember shots. I can't remember actually full sequences in the film. But this stuff a guilty pleasure to me. It's a movie that I don't think is as bad as critics are saying. But I don't think it's as good as the original. And the way I look at it is, this is a Jeepers Creepers movie made for Generation Z. This is a movie made for a new audience. And I'm just wondering why you went with a lot of your storylines that you did. Because I thought you were trying to appeal more to Generation Z than have a creeper try to eat an unborn child. I'm sure fucking teenagers would not want to see that nowadays. I'm sure I'm guaranteed of it. Unless you're a very sick person, I just don't think that's what teenagers would want to see. Yep, I'm honestly right now, I'm just trying to think of what else I can say I liked about this movie. It sets up for a sequel, so yeah, that should be an entertaining time if that ever happens. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, there's a lot to fucking rant on in this movie, isn't there? I always got to kind of put on my camera and be like, oh, I'm a defender of this movie and all that. And while I still enjoyed it, there was a lot to hate. But I won't shit on the actors for trying. They're obviously trying. There's an attempt there. I appreciate the attempt. And I understand, these aren't, A-class actors. They aren't the best of the best and all that. But and I'm sure they're still starting in their career. I'm sure a lot of these actors